Many of you know that I've written a book called Playing Above the Line, and then of course the follow-up book, Staying Above the Line. What I wanted to do in this video was show you exactly how we implement this thinking in teams to create really high performance. So the whole model that we work with is all around creating high performance teams. So high performance teams. Now, what does a high performance team mean? It means when you are getting enormous performance out of your individuals, particularly your leaders, out of your team, and also out of the organization. Now that might be, championship ribbons, or if you're in a business, it might be dollars or it might be growth. Whatever that is, this is the performance that we are working on creating. Now, when we create all of this, it comes together in this magic little circle right here, which is all about performance. So this is the playing above the line high performance model. So I want to show you how we actually begin to do that. Now when we look at our teams, any team, whether it's a sports team or whether it's a business team, we're looking for a few things. One of the first things we want is complete alignment. We want to know that they are completely focused on all of the right things. We also want to know that they have total commitment to the direction that we're going. And then, of course, importantly, we want to know that we have complete engagement. So we want to know that our team are using their strengths, they're using all of their skills to be able to bring that to the task at hand. Now again, if this is a sports team, and a sports team I particularly love are the Waratahs, this is exactly how they set up their team. So what they're looking for is creating the effects within their team of total alignment, total commitment, and total engagement. Now, how do we do that? So in the book, this is the goal of what we're going for in the Playing Above the Line book, and it's the story of how I do this in a sports team. This is a model that can be applied to a business, an organization, a church, a charity, a family, anyone. So let's talk about the three pillars that create this kind of performance. So the very first pillar here is leadership. Leadership is so incredibly important because if you don't have a spine of leaders, that's what we focus on first in a team, is creating leadership. Now, if that's your business, then that's you. If it's a coach, then this is what you're providing your team. The next element is culture. Culture is incredibly important in a team because it's actually the culture that creates the compounding effect, the synergy of the team. When the team is actually working together and achieving more than we thought possible, that's the culture. And of course, we want to know about their capabilities. This is about skills. So if we take my soccer team and we look at if we don't have the right skills, or if we're coming up against an opposition that don't have the same level of skills that we have, then really they have no chance. Now, if we come up against a team that has no leadership, well, you know what? They have no direction and no progress. We find that teams without great leadership in the team just completely fall apart. Now, if we don't have a great culture, what we've got, and this is a complaint I hear a lot, we have no team. All we have is individuals. And if you have no team and no individuals, what you've really got is no progress. So how do we do this in a team? Well, we have 12 accelerators that we use within our teams. So let's have a look at them. The first one, of course, is very, very important. It's all about clarity. And the clarity really comes from what your vision is, what your mission is, and what your values are. If you aren't clear on what those are, then the rest of the team won't be clear. And let's have a look at this. If we've got great leadership and great capabilities, great skills, then we've got total alignment. And there's another important element of this, and that is we want to have buy-in. If you don't have buy-in from the team, if they aren't involved in the decision, you've got nothing. Now, the next one we want to do is we want to manage behavior. Now, behavior is quite a difficult thing to manage because everyone has their own set of rules of what's acceptable. And then, of course, the next one is failure, dealing with failure, dealing with feedback, and dealing with fun. Right? So there are our 4 elements of leadership. So when we're completely clear, when we have team buy-in, when we're managing the behaviors and we know exactly what the expectations are, and we have a strategy around failure, feedback, and fun, then we have fantastic leadership. These are the principles of leadership. And as I say, when we have great leadership and great capabilities, we've got total alignment. Let's have a look at the other side, culture. So when we've got great leadership and great culture, we've got real commitment. And this requires a few foundations. First of all is great communication skills. Now, what I mean is we are adaptable and we include everyone in that. We also are highly accountable. Right? Now, accountability means you never let your teammates down. You are accountable to them. In sports, when you let your teammates down, what you're doing is you're giving them a hospital pass. If you give someone a hospital pass and they get flattened by the opposition, then you're not giving them a gift. And our job to be accountable to our team, we've got to give them a gift, not a problem to solve. And whether that's on the field or in business, that's incredibly important. Okay, it's really important that we keep some rituals. Now, the rituals are what actually keep the values alive. Now, we see this in great teams like the most notable is the New Zealand national rugby team, the All Blacks, and they have the haka, and they have developed a whole bunch of rituals around that, and that is what keeps the values alive. They have rituals like champions do extra. They have rituals like no dickheads. They have all sorts of really interesting rituals. They have rituals like sweep the sheds. Really cool stuff. Now, the other element of culture is this above the line thinking. And what that is no blame, no excuse, and no drama. When we eliminate blame, excuse, and drama from our culture, we become an incredibly high-performing team. Okay, let's look at capabilities, because when we've got a great culture and great skills, we've got total engagement. People are fully engaged in the task. And it's really important that we use benchmarking, right? We actually benchmark and measure what we're doing. That's incredibly important. It's also really important that we keep up our mental skills and conditioning. Now, unless you are keeping up the mental skills and conditioning, or your mindset, that's where things really fall apart. And it kind of links into a whole bunch of other areas. Because if we aren't mentally strong, then once we hit failure, we're going to crumble. We're not going to be a resilient team. Now, our next ones are that we actually need to develop our skills, right? Skills development. Now, whether that is on the field or in business, continually refining and improving those skills, using observation to find out how we could be doing it better, what we're doing really well. That's incredibly important because a high-performing team doesn't just have basic skills. We want skills at an accelerated level. And when you are using those skills at a great level, we find people are incredibly happy in their work. Now, the other really important part of capabilities is self-assessment. So if you can't actually self-assess what you're doing, then you really are at the mercy of other people who can do that. So working on these areas are really important. So this is our model for high performance teams. We call it the playing above the line high performance teams model, and it's all about creating this magic performance, individual performance, team performance, and organizational performance. Because when these actually align, they are absolutely the sweet spot. And have you ever played on a champion team? Because people who have tell me the same thing over and over and over again. They say it was just magic. Everything was simple. We could read each other's minds, and that's what it's like when you're playing on a really high performing team. So that's what happens when you are totally aligned, you have complete commitment and full engagement. And you know what? Results are amazing and joyful and much, much easier than you think. But it's really important that you work on these and that you use these accelerators to actually make that happen.